Barry asks, we used to rebalance our investments when we were working. Now that we're retired and drawing income, should we still be rebalancing once per year? Elias, interesting question. We talked about rebalancing already once during the program.
Rebalancing is better in a bull market.
I've heard that before.
Where'd you hear that? From yourself? So, and that is true. Rebalancing is better in a bull market. Maybe it's not as easy. Right now, a great question all investors could ask themselves. When was the last time I rebalanced this portfolio? Is this portfolio still in line with my overall appetite for risk? And if you really feel, hey, things have been great this year, is it such a bad idea to take some chips off the table? Probably not, especially if you're going to be spending that money. So one piece of advice, let's say next year we're going to remodel our kitchen. Let's take some chips off the table and get prepared for that. Mm-hmm. If the bear market rears its ugly head, I know you're going to want to pause that remodel. Mm-hmm. As Jonas mentioned earlier, you're not going to feel as good about spending your money. And that's really a wealth effect of recessions and bear markets. People don't feel as good about spending money. So let's get prepared for it now. Rebalancing is also an ongoing strategy. It's not something that you stop doing. And when you enter into retirement, your margin for error goes down significantly. Money mistakes are easier to overcome in your working years. Right. When you're retired and now your retirement dollars are your paycheck, you have less margin for error that can happen in your life with your investments, and you'll still be okay. One maybe not simple, but one idea we talk about in personal finance is sequence of return risk. And for the listeners, what that means is, let's say we have a bear market the first year you're retired. So that means market goes down at least 20%. Well, and you sell investments to facilitate your income for that year, you're compounding your losses. So the more you can manage sequence of return risk of when and spending your money, the higher the odds are that you will be successfully retired and be able to stay retired successfully. I don't know anyone who retires and then goes back to work. Or maybe they do, but do they want to go back to work? Probably not. That's a different question. So if you haven't rebalanced recently, I would be asking myself, what's stopping me from doing that? I would consider doing that. And it may just be time for a second set of eyes, a portfolio review, or maybe learn how you can partner with an investment firm that just rebalances for their clients, which is something we do. Mm-hmm. And you want to have the same income coming in. Everything's great in the market. Don't let yourself get greedy and think, well, I'm just going to see what can happen, right? You have to have a little bit of discretion to decide when to take chips off the table. And when things are good, it's going to be a lot easier than if things get bad. Yeah. And then you'd think, oh, man, I really wish I would have done that.
You're selling out of a loss rather than gains position. And that's correct. Something that could be really, really devastating. Psychology of what they do at Premier Investments and Wealth Management is something that's always been impressive to me because they understand, they do a lot of research, they do a lot of continuing education. They work with a lot of people just like you, just like the dream where you want to be when you retire, whether it's taking care of some of your kids' education, maybe it's a dream house that you have on a lake, or maybe a hunting cabin, or maybe it's the RV. That's the latest one that I heard. Somebody I know, they decided to do an RV, and they traveled up to Alaska, and now they're traveling all over North America, and they're taking the dog with them, and they're just loving life. You have the capability of doing that, but you need to have the means to do so in retirement. Premier Investments and Wealth Management can help you. PremierIWM.com. Click Get Started right there, or you can call 800-383-6590 at the website. Hit Contact Me or contact us, and you can put your name in. They'll call you. They'll set up an appointment. Online, in person, they'll come to you. You can come to them. There's so many different ways to make that appointment happen. You owe it to yourself today. PremierIWM.com, Premier Investments and Wealth Management.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Premier Investments and Wealth Management and LPL Financial do not provide specific individualized tax or legal advice. We suggest that you discuss your specific situation with a qualified tax or legal advisor. Rebalancing a portfolio may cause investors to incur tax liabilities and/or transaction costs, and does not assure a profit or protect against loss. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. All performance referenced is historical and is not a guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of principal. There is no guarantee that a diversified portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. Forbes' Best in State Wealth Management Teams ranking was developed by Shook Research and is based on in-person, virtual, and telephone due diligence meetings and a ranking algorithm that includes a measure of each team's best practices, client retention, industry experience, review of compliance records, firm nominations, and quantitative criteria, including assets under management and revenue generated for their firm. Investment performance is not a criterion because client objectives and risk tolerances vary, and advisors rarely have audited performance reports. Shook's research and rankings provide opinions intended to help investors choose the right financial advisor and team, and are not indicative of future performance or representative of any one client's experience. Past performance is not an indication of future results. Neither Forbes nor Shook Research receive compensation in exchange for placement on the ranking. For more information, please see www.shookresearch.com. Shook is a registered trademark of Shook Research, LLC.